The McDonald's burger chain has won its libel action against two environmental campaigners after the longest trial in English legal history. A High Court judge awarded the company £60,000 after finding that it had been libelled by a leaflet published in the late 80s. But the judge found that some of the allegations in the leaflet were true. The trial, which lasted 313 days, is estimated to have cost McDonald's £10 million.
As usual, Helen Steel and Dave Morris travelled to court on the tube. For the past 3 years, this has been where they prepared for their battle with McDonald's lawyers. They arrived at court for the 314th time, having established their place in legal history, but unsure of what lay ahead. From the start, they claimed the legal system was stacked against them. Legal aid is not available in libel cases, so they were forced to defend themselves. In court, the judge, Mr. Justice Bell, didn't attempt to read all 700 pages of his judgment. It would have taken most of the week. Even the summary took 2 hours to read. He said some of the allegations made by the two defendants were untrue, including claims that McDonald's was destroying the rainforests and causing starvation in the Third World. Also that it was selling food that carried a serious risk of heart disease or cancer. But the judge said that some of the criticisms made by the campaigners was justified, including the fact that McDonald's targeted its advertising at children who would pester their parents into taking them to the company's restaurants. Some of the criticism of cruelty to animals was also justified, and some of the complaints that low pay had depressed wages in the catering trade. The judge made it clear that the amount of damages would have been higher had it not been for the fact that some of the criticism made by the two campaigners was justified. It was a judgment that enabled both sides to emerge, claiming at least a partial victory.
The judge has got a right to his opinion, so have hundreds of millions of other people. Campaigners are performing a public service by continuing to distribute leaflets, whatever the verdict today.
We're satisfied with the judgment, but very concerned about the length of time it took to reach it. I'll be making a fuller statement in about an hour and hope to see you there. So thank you very much.
And our legal affairs correspondent, Joshua Rosenberg, joins me now from the High Court. Joshua, bit of a Pyrrhic victory, this?
Well, obviously, if McDonald's had won all their allegations, if the defendants hadn't been able to justify any of them, then McDonald's would have got rather more in damages. They would have got perhaps £100,000 instead of £60,000. But the judge made it very clear that on the main allegations, McDonald's had won. In other words, McDonald's weren't responsible for starvation in the Third World. They weren't responsible for destroying the rainforest. They weren't responsible for lying about packaging. They weren't responsible for selling food which was unhealthy. And so I'm sure that McDonald's will be very pleased with this result because the main allegations have not been justified.
And is this the end of the matter, finally, after this case lasting whatever it was, 300 and some days?
I can't see how Dave Morris and Helen Steel can go to the Court of Appeal. They'd have to put forward what's called security for costs. They'd have to show they could afford an appeal, and clearly they can't do that. They have talked about going to the European Court of Human Rights. They have, of course, got a great deal of publicity for their allegations, and to that extent, obviously, they will feel some justification for what they said.
Any wider implications to this case, do you think?
Well, it shows that there is a limit to the degree of comment that one is allowed, and obviously it would have been rather more difficult for McDonald's to have brought a case like this in the United States. The only matter of comment was one very small allegation in the leaflet. This was an allegation that McDonald's had they were accused of wrecking the planet, and that was not considered to be fair comment. All the rest of it was simply factual evidence, and of course the burden lies on the defendants to prove what they said was true. And apart from the limited circumstances, the fact that McDonald's were said to have paid their staff low wages and they were said to have exploited children in advertising, the defendants were not able to justify very much of the allegations in their leaflet.
Joshua, thanks very much indeed. The government has announced proposals to crack down on fireworks. It will raise the minimum age for buying fireworks from 16 to 18, ban bangers, and larger fireworks will no longer be sold to the public.
The new regulations will mean that the organisers of small-scale firework displays like this one won't be allowed to use bangers and other erratic fireworks like